Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to install the Crown Vic shock mounts that you had picked up from radfabz.com. Pretty simple process, but I'm going to walk you guys through it and show you how to do it just in case you don't know. Let me show you what all comes in the kit. First of all, if you bought one of these kits, thank you very much. I really appreciate that, man. That's awesome. So what you're going to get in your kit is you're going to get, yours isn't going to be painted in this cosmic gold like that. Yours is just going to come in the plain metal, you know, like that over there. I have already painted these up so we can get them installed on Chucky's truck right here. And that's going to look really awesome in there with the cosmic gold on the valve covers and that engine cover there. So what you're going to get in your kit is, this is your upper mount, that's your lower mount, and this is the shock. You're going to get one for each side. So 2 uppers, 2 lowers, 2 shocks. No hardware included. You'll have to go pick up your own hardware from your hardware store. But they're going to come like this right here. It's going to have a hole in the middle for your airbag line if it needs to run through. Some of the bags are mounted with the fitting to the back and some are up front. So I think on Lincoln's, mine runs up front. So I just run it through here. On Chucky's yellow truck here, his runs to the back. So we'll run that airline right through there. And then I'll show you guys how we install this here in just a minute. The lower is going to go with it angled up like that. See how it angles up or down like that? Yeah. You're going to have it angled up. All right, and then you're going to have to drill 2 holes through your lower control arm right there and bolt that to your lower control arm. And this is your shock. We'll just mount that. It needs to mount with, you see there's this cover right here. It needs to go on the upper side. You don't want to mount it like that and then have debris. Oh crap, that fell down. You don't want to have no debris falling down in there and getting trapped. So turn it around like that. That's the way it goes. See, like this is what I'm talking about. See how the cover's up top? You got it upside down, stuff's going to fall in there. So you're going to want it like that. That's the top, that's the bottom. Alrighty, so now that we know what comes in the box, let's go over here and I'll show you guys what we got to do to get this thing put in there. Alright, so if you got the Crown Vic front end like that, your bags are going to be mounted in some way using the factory 3 holes that strut went into. So this bracket bolts right into those also. You'll take out these 3 bolts. All right, now that we got all 3 of those nuts off the top, let's go over here and grab the driver's side. Now these are gonna go like this right here with the tabs pointing towards the rear. All right, and this will line right up those holes. So we'll drop that over that first bolt. Get this airline out of the way. We'll drop that on that first bolt and we'll push them other 2 through and go ahead and get them nuts back on there. All right, you can see we got those nuts on there. We're going to go ahead and snug those down. All right, now for the air fitting, like I said, you can take your line and you can drop it in the front if it's on the front side, or it will go right through that one. You can kind of see through there a little bit, the fitting where it drops right on top of it. We'll just reach around and plug that back in. All right, so you see they're pretty simple on that upper, man. Just bolted right in place into the factory bolt holes. Got the airline in. Let's get that upper shock in place now. All right, before we can install this shock, we're going to need to get our hardware together. So I went and picked this up. We have got, let's see, the upper bolts are a little bit skinnier on these shocks and the bottom ones are a bit fatter. So these bottom ones here were 9/16 and 3.5 inches long. You could probably get away with 3-inch long or 3 1/4, but I grabbed these just in case. I figured if it was too long, I could just chop it off. No big deal. And then these uppers right here were 7/16 by 3.5 inch. And same thing, if they're a little long, I could just cut it off just a little bit. So that's what you're going to need there, and some washers. And I use these lock nuts. I like those pretty good. So we'll grab a set here and head on over there and go ahead and install this one. All right, I'll climb on up in here and we'll just line up your shock, slide through the bolt like that, slide on the washer and the nut, and we'll just leave that loose for now until we get this bottom, and then we'll snug them all up. All right, so that's how it looks from down here. We got that bolt in, and now the shock just kind of hangs straight down to your lower control arm right here. All right, now let's grab this lower mount, and I'll show you the next step. All right, remember to install this with it angled up like that. All right, now we got that. All right, now before we go any further on this, I was just gonna mention that you guys know there are aluminum lower control arms and steel ones. Now this one obviously is the steel lower control arm, but I actually prefer the aluminum ones. It's a bit easier to install those. That's what I have on Lincoln. That's what Corey had on his, but this one's got the steel. Now with the aluminum ones, I'll throw in some pictures of what it looked like on Corey's truck and possibly what it looked like on Lincoln if I have the pictures, but I'll throw those in right now to show you. Maybe they'll be over here, I think, somewhere. But that's what it looks like with the aluminum lower control arms. So on those, all you need to do is you'll just take this and you'll get it lined up. It's down right now. You're going to have to get a jack under here or something and push it up so that it comes up to where it needs to be. And you'll make your little marks. You can kind of see like I've already done there. And once you get your marks made of where your holes are going to be, you'll just drill a hole right through. And then you'll get this mounted up there. You'll reach through and put your nuts on the back side. But with the steel lower control arms, they are, let me see if I can climb under here and show you. All right, see if you guys can see what's going on here. So here's the front. Let me try to zoom out. That didn't help too much, but here's the front. You get what I'm saying? So where that will mount up, it's actually going to be turned and be like right there. So where you would put holes at, you can't reach back here and get nuts in because this plate is here. So you got a couple options. You can cut a little open spot here so you can slide your fingers back there and put a nut back there and hold it and then tighten it up. Or you can get it, and once you've got it up in place, if you want to weld it, you can just clean up the side here, grind you down a spot there, and you can weld that son of a gun to that thing right there once you get it lined up and get it in place to make sure there's no bonding or anything. And what I would do is I get a jack under here and I just jack up the pressure so that it's where it needs to be. And then just throw a bead of weld on both sides or around this circle if you want, and weld that son of a gun in place. You could possibly, say you could probably drill those out and maybe put a rivet in there if you wanted to. I don't have a rivet gun, so I'm not going to do that. I think we're going to weld this one. That'd be the easiest process to get it done on there, and we should never have to change it. All right, I'm trying to get this thing set up on the jack to show you guys, but it is hard as heck. I'm sure, as you know, that this thing isn't going to go smooth. It takes both hands, and I can't do it with, can't get my camera set up in the right angle to just let it sit there while I do it on camera. So I'm just going to kind of give you an idea. You know what I'm saying? Got the jack under it right here. Get it up to the height. If you had both hands, you can see here, I can bend it down to the position that you need so that you can get your marks. You can see here I'm a little bit past mine because the jack's kind of weird and I have to kind of bend it and get it over to that spot, but it's not, you can see it's going, but hard to do it with one hand. So once you get your spots lined up like that and get your dots on there, you can pull this back out of the way. And if you want to drill your holes, put your rivets, go into there, cut a little spot so you can get a nut behind there, and you can do it that way if you don't have a welder. If you do got a welder, like I said, easy enough. Once we get it up here, we'll get it held into place. I'll grind the paint down. Now these steel lower control arms are also a little bit skinnier right here than the aluminum ones. So this bracket is maybe a little long on this back side over here. So you might have to, if you want, you might have to grind this at an angle a little bit and clean it up so you don't have a piece overhanging right there. I just took mine, try to find the flattest spot that you can on this lower control arm. There's not really a lot of good spots because it bends here and it starts bending right there. So your only good flat spot is right there. So get it up in there, and that's where you're going to have to go with it. You might have to give it a little angle just a little bit because it's drooped down. But once you get pressure from your wheels and everything goes back up, it's going to raise up a little bit and it'll level that out. So don't worry about that. All right, you see there how it's kind of hanging over just a little bit? This one is on my personal truck. I'm out here in the parking lot and it's laid out on the ground right now, you can see. But you can see what I'm talking about. That little piece is hanging over. I just left mine. This one was still kind of the prototype that I put on here a long time ago. I've just been testing with. And it's been on here for a while. I haven't even painted it yet. Yeah, that right there could be, if you wanted to be clean with it, you could round that off just a little bit. But you can see what I'm talking about too, where this aluminum arm is just much fatter right there. You got a lot more room. You can just reach right around like that in the back because it's like a cup shape. It doesn't have a plate on the bottom. So on the aluminum, you can just drill the hole, reach around and put your nut on the back and bolt that son of a gun in, and it's good to go. All right, so you can use whatever method you want to put that on there. You can drill the holes or you can weld it. I'm going to weld these. So I'm going to get these edges cleaned up, get this right here cleaned up. We're going to weld that into place, and then I'll jump back and show you guys the next step. All right, guys, see how that's at an angle? I got a jack under here. This is gonna kind of simulate when you get a wheel on it and get it back up. See, once you're at about right height, about right there, this thing is a lot more straighter and it's not at an angle like it was. So you kind of want to use 2 jacks. You want to get this up at about the level rod that you're going to be at, and then get you another jack over here. Or if you want to push that son of a gun up with your hand, or whatever the heck you want to do, man, to get it up there and get your marks. All right, another little quick tip. Whew, sheesh, I am out of breath. You can take some zip ties, zip tie around the top of this thing and around the bottom, and get that sucker held up. If your jack won't work, you can get it to the exact height you need it. You can see right there that my marks were terrible earlier. I'm glad I redid this before I welded it. So always double check it. All right, so I got it there, and I don't know if you can see over on this side here. Try to show you that we're hanging off just a little bit, just like we are on Lincoln. But it's all right. These things are painted up gold, and we're not cutting that son of a gun. You can see there's a little angle there. I probably need to tighten that zip tie up just a little bit more, but I just wanted to give you guys an idea and a quick tip real quick that might help you. Hold that son of a gun in place. You can get it marked up where you need. And then I've got these zip ties right here are the reusable ones. You just push the little button, zip it off, and then put it back on whenever you want. Okie dokie, I'm gonna quit yapping, get the son of a gun welded in place now. All right, guys, now we got that bottom side welded on there. Let me climb in here and show you. Got that welded on there, and then it messed up our gold paint, so we just put a little piece of tape right there and hit it with some black. Looks good, looks good. It looks like it's angled a little bit, it's because it is. I took this jack off and this thing sunk back down. Remember, whenever you get your wheel back up, that's gonna tilt that back up more level. So we've got that in place. Hit it with some paint over there too. Looking really good. Looking real good. We got that snug down. This is how she's looking from up top. Man, that looks freaking awesome in there. Check that out. Look at that with the valve covers and that engine cover. Sheesh. Man, that looks really cool, guys. Looks really good, man, especially whenever you throw that extra color on there. It makes it really pop. Looks really, really good. All right, and we'll get this other side put on, and then we'll get it down on the ground, and I'll show you guys what the clearances look like with the turning and stuff like that, and show you how it clears up against the AC stuff. So I do want to point out that I have been getting some feedback. And guys, I'm still brand new at making these. These are kind of prototype. We've been cruising around on them for miles. Everything seems to be pretty good on my truck, on Corey's truck, a few other guys that installed them. But Shandon got his, and his is the, it's the stock F100 frame with the, it has the stock AC from the F100 AC box in there. And he said his just wouldn't fit. Says that it's coming over and it's hitting the AC box. So if you've got the stock AC box with yours, I'm working on a design for that so that way we can clear that. So stay tuned for that. This one here is the stock F100 with the Crown Vic front swap. And I cut out this firewall, and this is the AC box from the Crown Vic. And now it clears perfect with that. So if you've got the Crown Vic integrated AC box into your firewall on your F100, it'll work just fine for that. It clears on that. And then Lincoln's outside on my green truck. All right, we'll come out here to Lincoln real quick, and I'll show you guys what we got on this. So this is a Lincoln Town Car full chassis swap, which is the same as the Crown Vic and the Grand Marquis. But this is the full chassis underneath with the 4.6. It has the, you know, the Lincoln Town Car full firewall, floorboard, all that stuff. So it also clears on that. If you see right here, again, these are ugly. These were my first ones I made, and haven't painted them yet. But you can see right there, it clears the AC box just fine. So if you got that set up, it will work for you. Or if you've got the F100 frame with the AC from the Crown Vic blended into the firewall on that, it should work on that one as well. But if you have the stock AC box from the F100, ain't gonna work for you, buddy. But we are working on a design for that. When we come up with it, I'll show you. Alrighty, it's gotten dark on me out here, but I'm gonna try to show you guys this as best as I can. Hopefully that engine isn't too loud. But to show you your clearance, this is with your wheels straight right here. So you can see how far you are from this upper and how far we are from the lower right there. Now let me reach in and turn it for you guys. Okay, now for me on this full Lincoln Town Car chassis swap, or your Crown Vic full chassis swap, whatever you got, it's still good up top. You can see right there, but on the bottom, We are making a little bit of contact down there, if you can see. Let me try to get this light straightened up. A little bit of contact down there, and you can see where it's actually been hitting my wheel a little bit. That's only with it pulled full locking all the way, and I'm never turning that tight. Never turning that tight. Turn it back just a little. Pulled it off of that just a little to see where it went. Hey, now you see. I can get my dang flashlight right. There you go. Now you can see. Now we got quite the gap there, and that's a pretty hard turn. That's with my steering wheel turned all the way before I have to give it that full little pull to the edge to where it starts humming, you know. And these are 18-inch rims on this, and they are 9.5-inch wide. And let's check the other side over here. Yeah, see, when you're turning this way, you're completely fine. You're not hitting anything. Let's turn it the other way and see. All right, now I know you guys got a bunch of different setups, like Epi's from Epi's Chop Shop. He's got these big cool headers coming off his engine, so I don't think these would work for him. So if you've got some cool headers coming out and going over this way, that's not gonna work for you. See how we got here? Down at the bottom. Now we're not touching that one, and that's full locked all the way. We're not touching that one at all down there. It's hard to see. I can't get my light to get in there, but hopefully you guys can see that. But that's the clearance there. And then let me see if I can get a little bit closer to around the air box area, so you guys can see how it clears up against that. All right, so I'm gonna get the wheel slapped back on this side. I'm gonna get that other mount put on over there. I don't need to show you guys how to do that. It's the exact same as this side. And then we'll lower it down, and I'll show you how the turning clearance is on this one with the stock F100 chassis and the Crown Vic swap on the front. All right, we got that side slapped on there in about 8 minutes. Didn't take long at all, man. She is looking good. What a cool addition to your truck. Makes it look really awesome. Got that lower mount there, welded on, looking good. Let's take a peek up top. Man, that's cool as heck. So that was my first time installing those and welding those onto that steel lower control arm there. I like that, man. That was pretty dang fast. Like I said, it only took me about 8 minutes to do that whole side right there. But it doesn't take that long to drill the holes if you need to and get those on there. Not too bad. I've had to do it several times with the aluminum ones, and it's no problem. Same process. And like I said, guys, I really appreciate you purchasing this kit and heading over to the website and supporting me. That's really awesome. And these are still pretty new, man. So if you have any issues, and I'm doing it all alone here by myself in the shop. So if you have any issues, just send me a message, man, and we'll get it figured out. If something doesn't fit right or line up right, send me a message. We'll get it figured out. All right, let's lower her down and see what the clearances look like on this thing. Man, she's gonna be riding good now. It's a little bumpy with no shocks up front. All right, I'm gonna fire this thing up to show you the clearances, but this thing has no exhaust on it yet, so it is loud as heck. So forgive me if you can't hear me talking, but you'll be able to see the clearances. I'm gonna fire it up. We'll just turn all the way to the left, all the way to the right, and see how it's coming. We can tell from the past that it's not gonna hit that top one at all, but it does come very close on that lower one. But you know what, man? If you're getting about 99% of your driving, it's not too often that we're turning all the way lock to lock, you know? So for the most part, just cruising straight in normal turns, you're not gonna rub that thing at all. It's only whenever you're pulling really tight to get into a tight parking spot, or like Corey, he drives his to work every day. He has to go into a parking garage. So driving in a circle and keeping it turned tight all the way up is not good, you know, it's rubbing. But other than that, man, to have it not bouncy and some comforts in there, to only be rubbing just a tiny little bit whenever you've got that thing fully locked, which is very little, not too bad. All right, let's fire it up and see what those clearances are. All right, I went ahead and shut it down. That way you guys could hear me talk. We've got it turned full all the way over here on this side. And again, it's dark and I apologize. But you can see the top up there is fine. Let me see if I can get this light right for y'all. You can see, okay, yeah, at that angle right there, you can see all the way down the shock. We are not touching it except for just barely, man, right there on that bottom, right on that mount right there. And that could be changed maybe by mounting that mount maybe a little bit further in, you know, and let me see if I can show you guys. Okay, possibly mounting that lower mount maybe a little bit further out, you know, take it and pull it over that way, maybe about another, it looks like if you went over about an inch that way, it would totally clear it. But again, it's only when we fully turn lock like that. And in my experience, in most of the lower trucks I've been in, most of the time you don't even get to turn fully locked anyways, because you start rubbing that dang fender. So you're probably, if you're going to be rubbing that fender, you're going to be rubbing that shock down there. All right, and over here on this side, everything looks good. Oh, that's good. All right, I'm gonna fire it up and turn it the other way and check that side. All right, let me see if I can show you on this one again. Let's see here if I can get that right angle. You can see there, straight down the tire. We're not touching the shock, but we are down in that very, very bottom mount right there. We're touching it just a little bit. But again, that could be, we could maybe move that lower shock mount to the outside a little bit this way. I could also maybe take that lower shock mount and shorten those tabs maybe an inch. That might help a little bit. But you know, when we're riding bag trucks like this, there's a few small inconveniences that look cool. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you're going to rub on those fenders anyway. So if you're rubbing on the fenders, you're going to be rubbing on that mount. So you're not just going to keep turning into the fenders. You're going to back off a little bit so you don't mess up your fenders. And when you do that, you're going to back off that mount a little bit. And this right here is with the Crown Vic Stillies on there. And what size tires are these? You could probably get a more narrower tire too. These are 225 60 16s. I don't know, maybe if you got a 215 or a 205, maybe make that tire a little bit more narrower. That might cut you about a ½ inch or something off there and give you a little bit more space. But some other guys, you know, I don't know what your setup is. Like my buddy Adam Washer, he wants to know if they'll fit his truck. He's got a slick. I think it's slick. No, I might be wrong. Sorry if I said that wrong, man. His is a 63. So yeah, that is a slick. Anyway, he's got the Crown Vic front on his, but I've not seen one on a slick yet, so I don't know. But just to give you an idea, Adam, if you're watching this video, man, I mean, you got quite a bit of room. It doesn't interfere with anything. You know, where you're going to be having wiring in your AC box and stuff like that, there's normally kind of stuff there anyways. So it's just kind of fitting in real low profile. It's really low profile, man, sitting on top of that right there. Like I said, with your wheel turned all the way, plenty of clearance up top. You're not hitting it up top at all. But a lot of you guys have different setups, man. Some of you guys might have narrowed control arms, a lot wider tires. If you got stuff like that, this kit might not be for you. You know, like I said, we're still in prototyping with this thing. I've made several so far. I've only had to tweak them just a little bit, but for the most part, man, they're working excellent. You know, they get the job done. Let me straighten these wheels back up. All right. Now those shocks, I did a lot of investigation on, I don't know if you guys have looked up the Monroe shock part number book, but I've got that, and I looked up every length for the compressed and extended, and this shock right here is the best one for whenever we've got it laid all the way down and jacked all the way up. That's going to have the best travel in that and get your most travel and not bind up. You know, it gives you like an extra inch or two up and down. That way you're not maxed all the way out when you're up, you know, and bottoming out, it's still got room to flex. You know what I'm saying? And if any of you guys need to get replacement shocks, I get those at AutoZone. They are the Duralast shock. Here's the part number right here. That's the part number for those shocks. If you need to replace those, or just you want to try to build these yourself and do your own dang thing, man, that's how you do it. Well, all right, it's going to wrap it up for this video, guys. I really appreciate you guys picking up those front shock mounts. You guys that don't have them yet, head on over to radfabz.com. Pick yourself up a set. We got a bunch of other cool brackets and stuff on there too. Get yourself a cool t-shirt, not like this dropped out one. And then also, I'm excited to announce that airslamit.com is the first one to start sponsoring me here on Rad Fabz. Super cool, man. I really appreciate you guys over there. They're going to be sending over some stuff for that 64 build we're going to be doing. Man, that thing's gonna be awesome. I'm excited to do that build. I'm excited for you guys to see that build. But yeah, man, they partnered with me. If you guys need anything, that's where I get all my stuff at. My bags, my bar ends. If you're making the 4-link bars, so if you're making your own 4-link bars, they are the only ones that I've seen that has these bar ends right here that fit for the tube for the 0.156 wall. Most of these other bar ends are for the 0.120 wall, which is a bit thinner. I use the 0.156. It's a thicker wall, more solid bar, and they are the only ones that I can find online that sell these bungs that will slip right in there perfectly. So if you need these, head on over there, check them out. They've also got these other little bar ends, you know, for the other side. You know, this is your other end for your other side with your bushings. They have those there too, man. I use those all the time for building my bars. They've got all kinds of stuff over there, man. They got air management stuff. They've got valves. They've got brackets. Just all kinds of cool stuff, man. Head over there and check it out. And if you guys purchase something, make sure that you use my coupon code Rad Fabz, and you'll save 5% off your order. So, man, I really appreciate you guys watching the video. Appreciate you guys subscribing to me. Appreciate you guys supporting me. Head on over to radfabz.com or airslamit.com and get yourself some cool stuff. Thanks for watching.